We want to go right now at 9:49 here in Southern California to Marco Gonzalez. He is in that same mobile home park where we saw Jim Nash just a moment ago, where there is utter devastation. Marco, I know it's difficult to hear what we're saying, so we'll just toss it over to you and ask you to tell us what you're seeing.
Frank, I can hear you. It is very windy out here. Some of these gusts, you feel like they are over 60 miles per hour. We're here at the Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park off of the 210 freeway, and look at this place. I mean, complete devastation. 600 mobile homes were once here, and Captain Ruda of the fire department told me that hours ago when this fire started in this area, he told residents, he said, we're going to try our best to save your homes, and he's just devastated that he has to go back to one of those shelters where all these people are, and he has to tell them that their neighborhood looks like this. And you can see these winds are blowing intensely. We actually haven't gone on top of the properties because we were warned that there are propane tanks in the area here, and we've been hearing them go off constantly. So we're being very, very careful, but these gusts are really blowing wind over the mountainside here. You can see the intense smoke. It's actually cleared up quite a bit because the winds are blowing that thick smoke out of here. But when we first got here about an hour ago, oh man, this was just a devastation zone. You're gonna look at some footage of me walking through that area. Some of the crews that were in this particular neighborhood were being warned, saying, look, these flames and this wind may come over here. You have to be ready to bail. And so we weren't messing around. We were ready. We're actually parked down the street. You can see our unit right there. We're facing the exit zone because we are ready at any moment. If they give us a cue to book it, we are going to book it. And when it comes to these goggles and the mask, the air quality is so horrific right now. The firefighters have the full apparatus, but this is what's keeping us safe from inhaling all of those horrific embers that are flying through the air. You can see some of the propane tanks are in this area. This was a home, if you can believe it, an entire neighborhood, and this stretches all the way. Mark, if you can pan to the left, look at all of this. Rows and rows, back this way, Mark, as well. Back here, this is all part of this mobile home park. Again, this is Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park in Sylmar. We're told that the flames broke out so quickly that some of the firefighters say that they had to leave their gear because they had to get out so quickly. They got here, realized the intensity of those flames, and said, we are not chancing it. We have to leave. Look at the frame. Just
Marco,
the brick is left.
I got to say, what you just said a moment ago, having spoken to that fire official about, telling the people that he was going to do their best to save those homes, and then to have to go down to that evacuation center
yes.
and tell those people the bad news. I mean,
I know Steve personally, and I've known him for years, and he's one of those guys who does take this very personally.
Of course.
Does care greatly about the individuals, and I know that it will weigh very heavy on his heart when he goes down there to talk to those folks.
And Frank, you know what? I could see it in his eyes. He pulled his mask off to talk to us, but you could just see the emotion. I mean, how could you not feel for these people that live here in Sylmar? I mean, Thanksgiving is just a few weeks away, and they've lost everything. I mean, it's one thing to cover these stories, as you know, but to really be living in it is a whole other world. I mean, this is what they have to look forward to now to come home. I mean, luckily they have friends to help them through it.
Marco, obviously there's no one there to talk to. We can all imagine the human impact. I just got another posting on the Buckley blog from Danielle, who says, just to give you an idea, I'm in shock. We were evacuated a month ago today, and here we are again on our son's first birthday, leaving behind our beautiful home, eerily decorated with balloons and streamers, now filled with smoke and ash. Hopefully tomorrow we can celebrate a birthday and the end of this terrible tragedy. Wow.
Marco, can I interrupt for just 1 second? We're just getting some more information of another fire, Corona fire. Fire crews from Orange County, Riverside County, and Corona responding to a fire burning near Green River Road and the westbound Riverside 91 freeway. This is from a CAL FIRE spokesperson. A neighborhood of homes is clustered nearby just north of the westbound 91.
Let's go back to Marco Gonzalez at the Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park. The good news is, if there is any, at least the wind has died, but unfortunately,
yes.
There's nothing to save there, is what I think you're telling us, Marco.
Exactly, Frank. I mean, 600 people called this area home here at Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park, and now their whole neighborhood has just been wiped out. As I mentioned earlier, the danger here is that some of these homes have mobile tanks, the mobile propane tanks. You can see one right there. So we're kind of staying back a little bit because we've been hearing these explode, and we don't want that to happen, especially while we're live here. And there's a golf cart you can see right there. Mark zooming into that right there. I mean, people literally down the street, there's some cars in the driveway. People had no choice but to just flee. As you heard me mention earlier, the firefighters said that they had to actually leave some of their gear because the flames were being whipped over this mountainside with 70-mile-per-hour gusts. And right now the gusts are blowing pretty good. We want to show you some of that footage that we shot when we arrived here about an hour ago. It was doom and gloom, very, very gloomy. And the firefighters were saying, be extremely careful going in there. Take a listen.
What's around us here was an incredible firefight. The fire blew, actually forced the firefighters a quick evacuation. They were in place, their hose lines were in place, and they said that 50-foot flame lengths just flew across the top of their heads. And then they called for an immediate evacuation. I'm working in an evacuation center, and I have to go back and tell the people here that I told them that around 6:30 this morning it was a dire situation up here. Now I have to go back, and I just have about 12 homes that I'm going to say are safe because our firefighters deep within this 800 mobile home park that our firefighters are still protecting. But everywhere else we look, it's just block after block of total devastation. The wind at the time of the height of the fire was about 70 miles per hour. And in this type of terrain, as the fire crested across the hills of Sylmar and made this bank, you can see how the heat was so intense because we've got high ground here, which trapped the heat in here. Right. And just made it like a freight train, made this turn all the way down from the 210 across the 5. But it was intense in here. To the best of my knowledge, we have all were evacuated safely. I don't know. We have to do a count to see if neighbors are taking care of each other. But I told the neighbors we'd be back at the evacuation center at 10 and let them know what we saw. Because I told them that I had heard the firefight around 5 o'clock, yes, and I wasn't able to get in because it was way too intense.
And as far as the wind's making it jump, do you think it's going to jump again with these type of conditions?
Well, it's already jumped to 210.